It takes a beautiful thing to take a picture at a bridge, or perhaps the infrastructures, which seems quite beautiful. Welcome to Al-Shifaa TV. My name is Dalila Hamza and this is The Umbrella Show. The Umbrella Show talks about matters that revolves around our society in every day of our lives. Under the umbrella today we have a special guest who is the CEO of Brooks Africa Limited Company. And today being the International Peace Day, hope you're marking it in a grand style. You could also send your views how you're faring on this peaceful occasion. And you can also send your comments or your questions in Al-Shifaa Online TV, in all our social media sites. The topic of today being the construction pillar. How is our construction faring? And also the things which are going through around the country at large. Thank you very much for coming in the studio, Mr.
Samson. Owili.
Owili.
Yep.
How are you faring today being the Peaceful International Day?
Peace basically, it augments the process of love, tranquility, opportunity for progress, both social and economic. So today is a wonderful day, and it is awesome that it is an occasion that is worth celebrating.
There you've heard it from our guest under the umbrella, who is Samson, and he's such a great guy because he'll be telling us some more about construction. You know, we have the tendency of taking a selfie at a bridge, perhaps capturing the beautiful sceneries of the ocean, or perhaps just wanting to have a beautiful house, a palace. All that is beautiful. Tell us, Samson, how have you been faring in Brooklyn's company? How was your journey?
The journey has been long enough. Brooks Africa was established in 2014 as a construction firm, both building and road construction. So, but majorly we have been focusing on construction of roads. And actually we have been involved in quite a number of roads. And basically when a standard gauge came into inception, or came into force, we participated in the construction of standard gauge railways until it ended. Mombasa, Nairobi, standard gauge railways, where we actively participated. We also participated in some construction of road and even housing. We did some housing in Nairobi, Kitangela, Tawala, and even some of them in Mombasa. But we are still on. At the same time, Brooks Africa as a company has got only two directors, Samson Owili, the founder, and Dorcas Awino Okech, the co-founder. Now, up to now, we are still actively in construction. At the same time, we're also trying to diversify in terms of other investments, which we are also focusing on. Our scope is not static. It is basically diversified in many ways. Thank you.
You've talked about you've been constructing the road for quite long now. It's about 15 years, right?
Right.
Let's talk about the narrow roads which are found in Kilifi, because lots of accidents have been taking place. So the narrowing of the road, how as a company perhaps, what do you think should be done in order to curb with that? Because the accidents have been seen quite a while. So as a construction group, what do you take that?
Well, when you talk about infrastructure, you are talking about the road, you are talking about railways, you are talking about ferry, you are talking about housing, and you are talking about even power and everything. Now, when you narrow it down to roads, and the nature or the characteristics of a road can be narrow as a condition. When the road is narrow, it means there is a standard of roads, like the road, like the one that is in between, that is being handled by Kenya Rural Roads Authority. Those kind of roads are called feeder roads. Some are feeder roads. But when you talk of Kilifi roads, I don't know whether you are talking about the highway or you are talking about the roads within the vicinity, or rather within the city. So, but what I know, the roads there are set standards for the roads. Roads can be initiated or created for certain standards. So the roads which are within the town center are not vast roads. They are roads which are basically supposed to be a 6 meter road, a 6 meter road. So when you talk about the road being narrow,
and there are some which are having potholes.
Well, you see, the prerogative of road maintenance, when it comes, we have KENA, that is Kenya Highway Roads Authority. We have KERA, which is Kenya Rural Roads Authority. We have KURA, which is Kenya Urban Roads Authority. So the prerogative, or rather the responsibility, is bestowed upon the person who is supposed to handle those issues of road having potholes at the KERA for the areas of rural, and in conjunction with the county government within that locality. So at the same time, it also depends on the resources. There could be financial constraints either within the county or within the government, that is the government wing, let's say KERA. So sometimes there could be some constraint, or there could be some planning going on. I may not be competent to respond to that directly, but in my own opinion, I think a road, even the government of Kenya may not be comfortable to see the roads in such conditions, but could be there are some money, or rather resources, that are being mobilized to ensure that such roads are made to the required standard.
Let's talk about the durability, the materials which are being used. How do we construct roads which will take quite a while for them to actually get ruined?
Okay, depending on the standards, there are set standards. They are agreeable international set standards to make a road. A road can be made. It depends on the BQ, rather the specifications that the tenderer or the employer may have put for such a road to be built. You know, when you want to build a road, first of all, you have to set specifications for that particular road. You say, this road, these are the materials that I want to be used on this road. But to some extent, and given certain areas that people might have seen happening, that such standards sometimes could be because of corruption affiliation. Some standards might have been overlooked by certain contractors, which we really try to ensure that when you are given some specific or other specs, that this road is supposed to follow this kind of specifications or the set standards, as a contractor ourselves, we are supposed to follow that to the latter, to ensure that the government or the employer, whoever has employed you to construct that road, will have the value for money.
Let's travel back then. we've seen that some of the roads, the buildings which were near the roads, were demolished because of the project which the government is ongoing about it. Some of the citizens have been complaining about the projects. They're not seeing any change because the buildings were demolished, or actually they were broken down. What can you tell, or let's talk about the citizens. Let's tell them that what's really happening, because to them it's like our houses were demolished and there is no roads which are going on. What should we tell them?
Demolition of houses of the citizen along the roadside. There are two kinds of demolition that may take place. I may not be specifically the one you are talking about, but I want just to give you a general overview of what might have happened. The government may choose to construct a road within a certain area depending on the survey that might have been conducted or the feasibility study. So if some citizens are being affected, what they are supposed to do, or what the government is supposed to do, is to compensate the citizens who are being affected by the construction of the road, like the one that was done by standard gauge railways. People were compensated, and that has been a tradition. The government has been compensating people who are being affected by the road, especially roads which are being constructed in new areas which are not the existing roads. There are also some roads which are, demolitions which are being carried out for those who are living or residing along the existing roads. Those roads, those buildings, when they are demolished, there are only two issues. One, there could be some encroachment. You have gone beyond the road reserve, and that road reserve that you have gone beyond, you will be asked to get out up to a certain meters to leave the road reserve. Now they will come and put a mark. Once they put a mark, they will give you some period, or rather grace period, to look for an alternative. If you don't, they will come and demolish. But if the road, they want to extend the road beyond the existing or beyond the government or map, or rather survey, then you are supposed to be compensated. That is what I believe in. But unless there is a specific case, but for this I'm giving you a general overview what is supposed to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you tune in, this is the Umbrella Show with me, Dalilia Hamza, the topic being the construction pillar. Let's take a look at our infrastructure. Let's take a look at how they are made up to date. You out there, do you have any kind of question that you would like to pose or you like to know? We have our contractor here, who's the CEO, who's the CEO of the Brooks Company. Send your views, send your comments at Al-Shifaa Online TV, and our lines are also open. You can call at 0753444999. Let's move to the housing part. How is it that in Kenya, the housings are quite expensive compared to South Africa, which is a developed country?
Yeah, that is so because the government of Kenya, as it stands now, the materials that are being used in the construction of houses in Kenya are quite exorbitant. The importation, most of the Kenyan government, or rather the individual developers, because in construction we have, when it comes to housing, we have developers, we have contractors, and we have property or property management team. So when you talk about housing being expensive, you are talking about a subsector in housing, that is in terms of developers. Now, developers, they put, or rather they peg their prices high because the cost of production of those houses are quite expensive because most of the materials are being imported, mostly from China. But when they come to Kenya, the duty of such materials, for example, the doors, the keys, everything, name them, anything to do with the materials, windows and everything, glasses, the duty is very high. So this is the reason why most of the houses become very expensive, because they are not, the materials for the construction are not locally manufactured. If at all there could be some opportunity, like the president of the Republic of Kenya was in the process of coming up with the industrialization initiative to ensure that industrialization is enhanced so that we can manufacture our own materials, so that we can have affordable houses. So this is why, because of importation and the duty being imposed on such kind of materials, definitely the housing will have to be expensive. Apart from that, the freight, you will use the ship to transport those materials from China or any other country to Kenya. When they come here, you have to pay the freight, depending on the weight of the material that you have. So you have to pay the freight, you have to pay duty, you have to pay port charges, you have to pay Kenya Ports Authority or wharfage. Now, when you put all this, you have to pay transport to transport from Mombasa to final destination, which will depend on where the developer is, or where the developer is developing such houses. So, in this context, what makes the houses become expensive is because of the cost of production.
The cost of production?
Yes.
So, don't you think that Kenya is able to do so in developing the materials?
That is why His Excellency the President is in the process of ensuring that our Agenda 4 come into being, or come into reality. So for it to be actualized, the President is supposed to push so that we can have our own manufacturing plans to do our own things, so that it can be much cheaper. When we do it like that, we shall have omitted the freight element, duty element, and maybe other expenses, other related expenses which could not be imposed on such kind of material. But I think the government of Kenya is doing something which is worthwhile to ensure that industrialization comes into reality. So until and unless also it is actualized, which we are yet to see, but I think the President of the Republic of this country is committed to ensure its actualization.
Let's talk about the Pakistan houses in Mombasa and the state it is in. According to you, is it wise to demolish them and rebuild new ones? And if so, what are the things that should be considered in building them?
I have not taken much survey about the Pakistan houses, but whenever I pass around that place, I could see most of them are quite dilapidated, and that may require either renovation or coming up with the new units, depending on the financial the financial or elements, or rather the availability of resources or funds. If the funds can be available, it would be prudent enough to come up with the modern houses which is also in line with the vision, with the Agenda 4 program, which also is a fulfillment of His Excellency the President, his agenda of affordable houses, if there is enough resources. But if there is some financial constraint by the government of the county government or the central government, they may have an option of renovation, absolute renovation. But if there is resources, well and good. But I think at the state as it is now, they are quite dilapidated, and the action is required to be taken upon such houses.
Let's talk about the President Uhuru Kenyatta's Agenda 4. We're talking about affordable housing. What's your projection, or what do you see? Do you see it coming up to being a reality quite soon?
Mechanisms which were basically put into affordable housing, the option, the focus, the vision that the President had is one of the best of its own. You know, in lifestyle, there are only three basics, or rather fundamentals of life. One is shelter, two, food, and three is housing. So, which is of course shelter. Now, I mean clothing. Clothing is the third one. So this was supposed to be one, and in fact we are just late. We ought to have done this one long time. And the element of affordable housing, because when you look at America, that was their first mission, that every American is supposed to be to own a house. Every American is expected to own a house. Then what happened? The American came with the mechanism, instruments that can enable you to own a house. There are a number of cushioning which the government is supposed to give Kenyans so that the affordable houses can come into reality. Last time, when they talk about people, there were some allegations that through their pay slips, they were supposed to be deducted some money towards the same. But now people are asking, how do you deduct my money and we do not know where the money is going to? You should allocate me a house, even if you are deducting, but I know at the end of the day, that will be part of my house. So, what we need to know, and what we ask as the government, you should come up, the government is supposed to come up with a proper mechanism.
Let's pick the call, we'll pick up from there.
Right.
Hello?
My name is Rajab.
Yes.
I have been to your program. I have a question to the guest.
Yes,
why is it that we have to hire Chinese to construct our roads, while here in Kenya we have good constructors like you?
Okay, the question is quite dire from Zebra.
Yes. Can I respond immediately?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. The Chinese coming to Kenya to construct roads other than using our people. When you asked about affordable housing, I started by saying there are certain mechanisms that are put in place to ensure that every situation or every circumstances goes to the way it's expected to go. When you, as a contractor today, when I'm given a big tender or construct a bridge or a house, the best I can do, maybe I'm having, like, for example, a construction that is worth maybe 7.8 billion or 10 billion. An ordinary Kenyan may not be able to afford that. If you can afford it, at the end of it, you will go to the bank. The interest that can be accrued on 8 point something billion Kenyan shillings you will sell the rest of your family and together with any land you have. So, but in China, here in Kenya, the interest rate is about 17 or 18% per annum. In China, they will give their people, contractors, 2%. So when the bidding comes out, when there is a tender that is floated in the public for Kenyans to tender, when you want to tender with them, because they are given opportunity also to tender like any other person, there is what we call local tender and international tender, depending on the value of the project. So when they tender, because according to the policy, the procurement policy and the disposal act says the least bidder is supposed to be given the tender. So when you look at what you expect to pay in your local bank, and when they look at what they are supposed to pay in their local bank, even if they say, this is what I'm quoting, you can't defeat them. You cannot defeat them, and you cannot manage. So that is why, not that there is any kind of special preference that is given to the Chinese. The secret here is the mechanisms that the government has put in terms of the contractors is more affordable, flexible, and cheaper as compared to our situation. That is why even the Kenyan government is supposed to say, if we want to support our contractors locally, locally, when there is a big tender, when you want to get loan, this is the percentage is supposed to be given to you. When you are women, people with disability, this is supposed, the interest rate you are supposed, that is the only way the Kenyan government can develop its own contractors.
Talking about the contractors, before any person is qualified to actually join your company, what are the things that you consider before hiring them?
Basically, you know, this is a technical area that before we hire any personnel, we have to consider, depending on the vacancy that is available, because in construction, especially for the road, first, we need surveyors for the road. We need a civil engineer, and but mostly civil engineer and surveyor and geospatial. So when you want to hire, because there are also categories also. We also need finance, people who are conversant with the finance, because at the end of the day, all those things must be computed. Those activities must be computed. We also need health and safety officer, because on site there is element of safety element. So we must also hire such people. So it depends on where, but we are looking, we hire quite a number of people from different or multidisciplinary institutions. So with that, we consider such kind of qualifications.
Let's talk about the floating bridge, which is going to be constructed at Likoni Ferry. To what benefit do you think this floating bridge will help the community? And also tell us, how will it be working? Will it be using electricity or something else?
Awesome. What benefit? You are talking about the benefit.
Yes.
I'm not directly involved in the construction of this floating bridge, but in my own opinion, one of the fundamental purpose, or rather the principal objective of this, is to decongest the ferry. Basically, because this is basically a footbridge. It is a footbridge that is basically earmarked, or rather targeting decongestion of the main ferry. That is one. Secondly, ferry has been having quite a number of rampant accidents. So this is also going to eliminate some safety, or it's going to eliminate accidents and all that. But safety is also an element. The congestion of ferry is also an element. Then the third one, according to me, is time management. It is also going to enable members of the public to pass quickly, to report to work within the set time, and go back home within the right time. But one ferry, because the existing ferries are overwhelmed with the population, because there is explosion of population in Mombasa, and we expect more. So this concept is one of the best, and people are going to benefit in terms of time management, in terms of security, in terms of safety and all that. So it has enormous benefits to the members of public.
Please inform our viewer there, what will we be containing? Like, will it be using electricity, or how will it be put into place?
Well, it will be, as I did say, I'm not directly involved in this, but from the background I have regarding that, this will not, electricity and water, they are never friends. So it will have to use what we call Yamaha engines, which will be tied, or which will be connected underwater. Once it is connected, there is a provision where it can open and close. The provision that it has to close and open, the activity that will be going on here, it is through the engine from Yamaha company. The Yamaha is the producer or manufacturer. Now, there will be a control room whereby when the ship is leaving the port through the channel, or whether it is coming, there will be a communication between the captain who is on the ship and the person at the control, that in the next 5 or 10 minutes the ship will be passing. The ship will be passing. So the person who is the operator of the floating ferry will open the ferry. When it passes, it will. So what will drive that are those Yamaha engines, the ones that we are using for the boats.
Well, quite interesting. If you tune in, this is the Umbrella Show with me, Dalila Hamza, and let's talk about our construction and how they're faring on. Let's move to the entire part of real estates and all that. Like when we look up to, like when a Kenya is about to construct a house or is about to hire a contractor, what does she or he need to consider, starting from the materials and expertise? What should they be considering?
You see, construction of somebody who is in real estate, or rather developer, when he wants to hire a contractor to construct a house or houses, what happens mostly, it depends on this one. It varies from a developer to a developer. So one developer may approach a contractor directly. Another developer may choose to go through tendering process. So when he goes through tendering process, you will have to bid like any other person. If you go through the tendering process, which normally are competitive, if you go through that one, that you are the lowest bidder, you take the day, or rather you carry the day. So that normally the procedure that people normally follow. But see, there are also certain prerequisites, requirements which a contractor must have. Like for us, we have NCA, that is National Construction Authority. There we have construction practicing license, that the government has given you the authority and audacity to construct a road under National Construction Authority. You must have that license of practicing. Then there is also registration issued by the Kenya National Construction Authority. You must also have tax compliance. That is from the Kenya Revenue Authority. You must also have trade license. That is from the county government. You must also have key staff with those qualifications, and you must demonstrate that they are actually your staff. So with their certificates attached. So with that, a developer will be comfortable when you are consulted directly without going through competitive process. It depends on the confidence that a developer may have in you. If he feels that he can approach you direct and construct for him houses, he may ask you 1 or 2 questions, but if he's satisfied, he may give you an okay. Then you negotiate on the table with him what you are supposed to charge him on a specific project.
Let's take a look at our social media site at Facebook. We have Anifa Karim say, good interview, great question. We also have Zakia Rajab getting you guys loud and clear from Vanga. We have Adesh loud and clear from Malindi. We have Bragan Mina is watching from Nairobi. Thank you for watching. And we also have Omar Boma who says loud and clear. All these people are tuned in Al-Shifaa Online TV. You can also call us through and find out, do you have any queries concerning construction? This is the day. Call up and your questions will be answered to you. I want us to take a look at these people who have been swindling Kenyans all over the country. Like the case of 2007, where we have directors of Simple Homes in Kenya had swindled the Kenyans approximately about 500 million, and such scenarios which have been not noted but are still continuing. So when you see such a scenario as a constructor and as a citizen of Kenya, when we hear such things which are quite terrifying to us, because this is money and money is earned at a very high cost, how do we take such cases?
In my own opinion, I would just wish to urge the government of Kenya to ensure that the agencies which are responsible for such kind of multi-practice should be brought to book. But my own idea is, one, the government must make these agencies, must ensure they have the teeth to bite. In other words, they must give them the proper mandate to ensure that they are able to convict a person directly, because right now we have ESC. There are rampant corruption that has been going on in this country. But little did you see, somebody is being taken to court within a certain day or time is been fined, or rather is been bailed out on bond. Mm-hmm. To see these people being taken to court and jailed, this is the only way that Kenya can get out of this quagmire. One, it is because of the agencies that we have. We have ESC, that is this anti-corruption agency. This body is supposed to give them certain mandates that they can act on their own without passing through a certain cadre they are supposed to be given a certain authority to convict those people. In their opinion, they feel these people have committed an offense. But now, when you look at the process at which people have committed committed commercial or rather economic offense, they are still at large. So the billions of shillings are going on. Look at what happened just the other day. Nobody has been convicted. The other time, people have been talking about corruptions, COVID-19, corruptions, so many. The list is endless. So my urge to the government is that make ESC effective. That's the only way.
Thank you. Let's move on. What are the challenges you face as a company?
The challenges we are facing as a company, mostly, especially when it comes to tendering process, it's about corruption. What I'm talking
so corruption
about.
Is being a key thing in all that.
Right, because sometimes you can just submit your tender right there, thinking that I've done what is required, all the requirements you put. But now, at the end of the day, you hear the tender has been given to somebody. But at the end of the day, you know so and so is not competent to do that.
So when you get to that point, what do? You feel like there's injustice which is being here.
We feel that...
Which approach do you take?
Okay. The government has given some provisions. You can go to court if you feel that injustice has been conducted on your side. You can go to the arbitration from the procurement authority. You can go there and you complain. So if they feel that no justice has been done on your case, then they will decide otherwise. But look at it, it will be a process.
Have you been a victim of it?
No. But now we know what is happening. Another thing that is also very strange in this, it's a very good question, which I really need to explain this. When you look at the engineer's estimate, this road from for example, from town to Mtwapa is 45 million Kenya shillings, according to the engineer's estimate. Here is a case, somebody is quoting like 25 million. Where is the 20 million? But according to the engineer's estimate, it is 45 million. But somebody is quoting, but now when we ask, how will this person do this road? According to the engineers, the materials, when they put the materials and everything, the labor and everything, it will take 45 million Kenya shillings. Mm-hmm. Somebody is quoting 20 or 25 million. And if he's asked, he's saying, I will do the road. So those are the kind of roads that you see at the end of the day will never last. We would urge the government that if a road is being done, you must give a guarantee to the government that the road that I've done will not have any repair in the next maybe 30 years or 40 years. If there is any pothole, I will do it myself. Such kind of conditions are supposed to be imposed on the contractors in the future.
Tell us your last remark to the viewer. But before you tell us the last remark to the viewer there, I want you to empower any person watching there. Apart from being a CEO on Brooks Company, what else are you?
Apart from being Brooks Africa or investment as a CEO and the founder of the same, I'm also the president of Arise Africa, Afrizo in Africa. I'm also the founder and the chairman of Dawn of Africa as an NGO in Kenya. So that is also, those are so besides being a CEO of Brooks Africa.
I want you to empower the viewer there. You having all those kind of positions empower them. How do you get to such levels? And what should they be doing? Because some will be like, I can't be like Samson, you know. Samson has gone through a lot of things and he deserves to be there. Empower our girl there or our boy there, what to do or what to expect or what to actually achieve there.
Well, thank you very much. It is basically being patient and staying focused. If you stay focused on what you want, you will achieve what you want. First, it also goes, patience means you will develop experience. Apart from that, you also need to be honest with yourself. Be honest and have some, when you are honest, you will develop network through people. Because development of individual, it is not you alone. Your development comes through other people. Now, back up your life with the love for others. Try to develop others. You will go far. That is what I would say. First, stay afloat in terms of being focused. Have the vision. What do you want from day one in your life? That is why most of the people, they ask their children, when you grow up, what do you want to become? So once you have known what you want to become, stick to it. Be honest. Work hard. And if you don't work hard, you will never achieve anything. Be consistent with whatever you want to do. Once you have done that, you will fail several times, but never give up, because failure is part of development and progress. So if you fail and start again, at the end of the day, you will achieve whatever you want. So that is why I'm saying you stay focused. And as you stay focused, you also look at things in a bigger picture. You also think big. You don't think small, think big. And you will achieve things, the big things that you want. But don't be overambitious. Be ambitious but not overambitious. Thank you.
That's it from Samson. Today being a peaceful International Day, we wish you as Al-Shifaa a wonderful day. And also, everything that starts has an ending. And the genesis of the Umbrella Show still goes on. With Bragan Moina as our director, wishes you a lovely, lovely day. And also we have Tito Spencer, the man on the camera who made everything possible today. We also have Javan, who's making sure that you're getting the broadcast live from where you are. I'm Dalila Hamza and this is the Umbrella Show. You can also catch this show later on onto YouTube. And I bid you farewell and a lovely day.
Thank you.